Hi, I'm Rachael Whitefield, certified life coach, and with me is Jaki Black, our resident ADHD darling. Thank you for joining us on Whiskey, Bent, and
Spellbound with Black.
Whitefield. Yay!
We killed that one.
We kind of found a workaround.
We found it's fine.
It's good. We'll get it. We're good.
I know. Well, no, I feel like that was the secret.
Yeah.
We figured it out. But
we found a way that worked for us.
And you know what? That's so pertinent to this episode. But let's talk about our whiskey budget and what we're drinking tonight.
Ooh, whiskey budget. So I always say, why mess with a good thing? Why mess with a great thing? We are partaking once again in Uncle Nearest 1856 premium whiskey, mine straight out of the freezer with that nice frosty sheen on it.
And mine, so that the camera comes back to me, this is actually what the bottle will look like.
Yes.
Yes.
So Jaki, are you drinking yours straight?
I am going to drink mine straight. I'm going to do a little sipping tonight. And not because I want to feel cooler. It's just because I ran out of mix. So let's see what Spirit pours us today.
Cheers. We'll do Spirit pours today. Spirits tell us when to pour the spirits.
Yeah, they just push it out of the bottle for us.
Fine. Tells me when. Ooh. I like that my whiskey's a little frozen, so it pours a little thicker, a little slower, it's like
a little thicker,
a little slower.
Yes. I love this whiskey. Last time I didn't get a chance to really describe the flavor of the whiskey. So let's take a little drink and have a little experience.
I'm gonna take a little sippy
flavor.
sip.
So it's a little bit smoother than other whiskeys I've had, like a Jack Daniels.
I will say, you know what? I'm just going to be very vulnerable. I was never a really big whiskey drinker. I am learning as we progress with this show on Whiskey Bent and Spellbound. And so it's one of those things where I don't want to act like I know a ton about it when I don't, but I have such an open mind to learn and to really appreciate. And although I wouldn't say I have a refined whiskey palate yet, this feels so this tastes really good. It's not harsh. It doesn't burn. You can
the
really
tannic
feel the quality and the time that was put into it as a craft versus, I don't know. It's not a harsh whiskey. And that's to say, it feels very smooth to me. And I really enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, it's really bold. You know what I'm saying? It's got a spiciness right when you start drinking it up front, but it mellows out into that caramel that I was talking about last time.
Yeah, I can still kind of taste it on the middle back of my tongue, and we haven't had a second sip yet.
Nope.
But it's not, it doesn't burn. I hate to use the word smooth, but until I find a better adjective, I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take another sip and then notice the end of it this time.
Okay.
So if you notice that second sip isn't as maybe strong as the first sip, it's because your body's now used to the tannic acid. That's what you're describing, the smoothness. It's even smoother the second time. And the second time you drink it, you'll notice a little oatmeal raisin cookie at the end. If you breathe out, a little oatmeal raisin cookie that's smooth. Now
that's actually kind of nice.
I love whiskey. I love whiskey, and I've been drinking whiskey for years and years. Am I an expert? No, not at all. No, not whatsoever. But luckily,
dare you say, not a novice.
Yeah, I'm not a novice. What is happening?
Jacqueline's having technical difficulties.
Fixed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Anyways, back to the whiskey. I'm
Yes.
not an expert, but I love trying new whiskeys, and this one is fantastic. And didn't we look up their website? And most of the employees, it's a like heavily female run
Such a
company.
First of all, their website, I'm on a I have a web development background, a coding background,
Yeah.
and I am on like a NASA web modernization project. I believe I can speak expertly about this
Oh,
subject.
for sure.
Their website is fucking incredible. It's so
Yeah.
good. And they have a great storytelling devices. It takes you through the journey of their company. It
Mhm.
really makes me like more invested to support them, which is really great. And they have all of their, I can't speak for them, all of their, but they have their employees on there. And it is such a diverse company of women supporting women,
Yeah.
people of color. I was like,
Yes.
more of this, because
Yes.
they seem very people first. And their whiskey is a bonus to that.
Yeah.
You know, versus like, hey, just buy our product, and like then it's just faceless and you don't know. Like, I feel invested in their company.
I really, really do too. I hope they hear us talking so good about them, quite frankly.
Yeah, like I was like, yeah,
They need to know
like
they
what
have
they're about.
fans.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. I feel like they're just doing things their own way and it's working for them, and they're finding a way that's just like, yeah, this is us, and we don't have to match or fall into anyone else's way of doing things. We're going to do it our own way. And I think it's fantastic.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan. So definitely, listeners, if you have a chance, get some of that Uncle Nearest. We're drinking 1856, but I believe there's a black label that they have in their line, but it's fantastic. I am a big fan.
Big fan. Big, huge. You know, okay, so
Huge.
Jackie, I have let the whiskey marinate in my ice today.
Okay.
And I know I do love fancy ice.
You do. The fancier the ice, the better, quite frankly.
Yes, like however, it's been a busy week. And
Yeah.
I am using, not all ice has to be fancy ice, but that doesn't mean we can't have a fancy drink, because this is
can't judge. You can't just not judge.
Can't not
as Rachael.
judge. This is Rachael we are talking about. This is
Mhm.
Rachael is in the room. So you know what, dare I say, it's great ice too. It's just freezer ice. It's freezer ice. It's Crescent.
Plain Jane ice.
By bulk. However, again, not sponsored, just because I love them so much. Fancy Sprinkles. This is a to-go pack for our links in the show notes, if anyone, for our audio listeners, but this is it in the
That's right.
So
they
it
have
like it
to-go
comes
packs, so you don't have to
travel.
manually
Mhm.
put them in spell bottles if you don't want to. You can buy them in to-go packs.
They look like little sugar packs. That's what they look like. So now what I'm using today is Fancy Sprinkles Moonstone Iridescent, which is
that one's going to be so pretty.
It's so pretty. So I'm going to add glitter to my whiskey now, just because you can make it fancy. Rachael, Rachael's the main character energy always. Like, it's Rachael's world. Everyone's just living in it right now. Like,
and quite frankly, Rachael gives me an excuse to just accept my main character vibes. So I just put a little bit of this purple glitter in my whiskey. So what?
I said I would have said the same thing about you.
Oh my God, we're terrible influences on each other.
I wouldn't call it.
Or are we amazing influences?
Amazing influences. Let me get some ASMR in here.
Oh. Oops. I really glittered up this drink, and I can't. Mine got darker. Well, yours looks like it got lighter.
Yeah, mine got a little lighter because the Moonstone Iridescent is kind of like the white glitter, but it shimmers light pink. Anyone on our YouTube channel, it looks just like my backdrop.
Just like her background.
Looks just like my backdrop. Also, this iridescent shimmer, it looks just like my night cream. My night serum. It's magic. And it's like, what is it, Bader-Meinhof or whatever the N factor? It's just like this look of things is just surrounding my life right now, and I am here for it.
Yeah, same with me and anything black.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so funny. Okay. You guys, today's episode, it's about ADHD. And I do want to say, I did not take any meds today. So we're going to see where
this is the perfect thing, because I cut my meds in half today and they have worn off. They were worn off 2 hours ago.
Okay. We are rolling in ADHD on fire. So today's episode is ADHD darlings. Why, like, ADHD is our superpower, asterisk. It pros and cons, ebbs and flows. So come along with us on this.
If you can follow us, probably go see your doctor for this episode. Like, go see them and talk about your attention span and how you're able to follow this type of conversation. Because, like, quite frankly, I feel very unprepared for this episode and I procrastinated.
Me too.
Which is typical.
Like, if all I have to do is talk about my experiences, well, I can't get more prepared. I can't come in unprepared. I'm more unprepared either. So,
that's true. Can't do it.
Yes. So in the bit of research, and I just really want to say, anything that we say, we are not medical professionals. This is not meant to diagnose. This is not advice. This is just our shared lived experience. That's all I have to say.
We might throw out some advice.
Yeah.
We might throw out some advice, but it is not medical advice. It is just, this is what we've experienced. Here's our suggestion.
Yes. So, from my experience, I am adult. I'm 40 years old. I was a late stage female diagnosis, as a lot of, maybe it's just social media, but I see a lot of that, happening now.
Yeah.
So
I'm in that group.
I was 38 years old when I finally was like, I don't know. I felt like it was such like character flaw for me. And I think I had been living with it for so long, but also with my ex-husband, the Limey, who was also living with undiagnosed, very severe OCD. So as he for him, it was more of like, what I can see it in retrospect was he probably felt really out of control in work. So it was really manifesting with like what he could control at home, which was, Lord help me if I left a fork in the sink, because now everything is a huge mess with one fork in the sink because I can't, like, so it made me feel like I was just so messy. It was just, I'm not so OCD clean that now me being disorganized or just living maybe a normal life. I don't know, but it was just like, I'm not aligning with my mental illness is not aligning with his mental illness. I don't know if ADHD is classified as mental illness or neurodivergency. That it's like, and I didn't know it was like ADHD, because I also think a lot of socialization, the way we are brought up to be good girls, quote unquote, that it doesn't show the same as in little boys. So we are conditioned to be good girls. So I think I had been living in this place of, I'm doing everything wrong. I must be such a shitty person because I'm struggling to like meet deadlines, or I am an interrupter because I have to get my thoughts out or I will forget them. And I feel like, what is it, Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, with like all his like note strings and everything. I was like, running my business, I am surrounded by Post-it notes. Yes. Surrounded by them.
And so relatable.
Yeah. So that's kind of in a nutshell, kind of where my diagnosis came from. And then when I decided, like, to go to the doctor and talk about it or take one of those online tests, it was like, no. Like I'm always moving. I'm always like fidgeting, but then again, these aren't character flaws. And then you realize like someone validates that it's like, no, a lot of other people are like this.
Right.
And that it's not just you. You're not a terrible person. You're not failing as a person. I I don't think I've ever felt more seen than in that doctor's office of like, no, you're okay. And also, I come from a background where taking meds is really frowned upon. So it's like I had to come to terms with it's not a personal failure for me either.
Right. Yeah. So I got diagnosed later in life too. I think I actually got diagnosed on accident because my daughter has ADHD. We were able to diagnose her so quickly because she actually presents the way little boys do with like hyperactivity and sudden outbursts and things like that. And I was taking her to the doctor and, getting her, meds and stuff. And then the doctor when she was like a preteen, was like, I need you to also fill this out, this questionnaire. Because when I was talking, I was doing it in such a way, how like when you have ADHD, you go off on little tangents and you're like, because you feel like you have to support what you're saying. So you go off and you tell like a background story. You go all the way down PCH just to get one block away, that kind of thing.
I get reference. Californians, you do too.
Californians do. Yeah. So I took this test that he was giving to literally giving to my daughter. And he was like, your daughter definitely has ADHD, but she presents like a little boy does. So it's more difficult. They are, especially since she's a little girl, but I need you to know that you have ADHD. And I was like, what are you talking about? I got straight A's. And he was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He was like, he was like, do you ever interrupt people? And I'm like, well, yeah, because if I don't, just like you said, I'll forget what I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, okay, do you procrastinate a lot? Or did you always feel like you're an overachiever? Like you have to continually get those grades. Otherwise you're going to let somebody down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yes to everything. And he was like, it's because you have ADHD. That's how women present.
Yeah.
And like, it just made me feel like, well, damn, like society really messed the girls up from the 80s. We were good girls.
Yeah. And that it's like, we maybe subconsciously we are trying to manage it our whole lives as children.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like low self-esteem because I'm a shitty person. I'm failing. Not everybody is like this.
I couldn't figure out why everybody else could concentrate so easily on things. And it made me feel, not that it was a personality flaw, but it made me feel like a burden on people. It made me feel like people didn't like me because of these traits in myself. And it's like, no, it's not that, bro. It's not that. And it made me very self-conscious, about my own, like, I don't know, like the way I talk, the way I act. It really just made me super self-conscious. And so when the doctor diagnosed me, I was like, everything makes so much sense now. Yeah. And then when you take the medication, it's almost like, is this how everybody else's brain works?
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah. And I do want to say that I had to come to terms with, in the studies that I have looked at, it does say, I want to touch on this, like 1 in 3 women with ADHD also are co-diagnosed with depression. I am one of those people.
So am I.
And so we need like, I don't know, 4 more people and then the ratio will be great.
I know.
But it was, and this is not an episode about depression. I'm sure we will have that one as well. Mental health, but it's also like, I had to come to terms with like the verbiage I used to honor myself, to say,
that's so important. I'm so glad you're bringing that up.
Nothing's wrong with me. I'm not broken. I'm different. It's just different because we, especially coming from a very small town, it's like everyone is the same and that is where safety is. And if you are different in any way in this small town, then he's kind of ostracized, or you're the weird kid, and like normalcy is protection, you know.
Oh, you're so right, because there were weird kids and they were definitely ostracized. I'm going to say it. There were weird kids at our school.
Yeah. And
And
so
they
kind
were
of
ostracized. Do I feel bad about that? A smidge. I hope they're okay. As an adult, I hope they're okay.
Everyone's okay. And so it's very much to say like, okay, once I could be gentle with myself and forgive myself for hating a part of me for so long that one was perhaps very much highlighted as a negative thing, living with someone with out of control OCD, where they were trying to control me in a way that like I couldn't be controlled, or like their controllingness with their OCD. And this is not against any one of those OCDs. This was just experience with my marriage that was falling apart at the time. And the stresses that come with it. Then it made me feel like more out of control because I didn't want to be like constrained to this box that like this person, then that would make that person happy, you know? Yeah. So it's like, I felt like more messy and more scatterbrained and more because I couldn't be this like perfect little thing
in a box.
Yeah.
That's how my last marriage was. Like he couldn't accept that I was a little bit scatterbrained, that I was a little bit like, I keep certain things in certain places because that works for me. Do you do that? Like you keep, it doesn't technically like a regular non-neurodivergent would not keep this item in a specific place, but because you have ADHD, do you do anything that like, that like, this makes more sense for me right here rather than over there where everybody else would keep it?
I think we can start to transition to like ADHD is our superpower, but I was like, we can touch on behaviors that we have changed in our life that kind of actually a very helpful thing for me was to change the way you live in your life that better suits you. To say, okay, this, I can't do it this way, but I can do it this way. So I can still end up at the destination of where I want to be. It'll just, I'm going to take a different path to get there. We're all going to end up at the same place, right? So, some, I don't want to call them life hacks, but some behavioral modifications or life modifications that I have done that work better for me was, in my last apartment, like if I can't see the food, I won't ever eat the food. And then I have so much food waste because it's out of sight, out of mind. So in my pantry, where all my dishes, where all the food was, and like all the cupboards where the like dishes and cups and glasses were, I switched that out. So the more shallow cupboards that had the dishes now have the food, so I can see everything. It's up front. It's all available. Nothing gets pushed to the back. And then in my pantry, I put all of my dishes in there, Tupperware, glasses, plates, everything. And then that way, it didn't matter what was pushed to the back. I know where my mixing bowls are. They're in the back, you know? So, and then something else that really helped me was I was never a good flosser. Like I have no problem brushing my teeth before bed, but I was like, it's just another chore. However, I've also, since high school, brushed my teeth in the shower as well when I shower. And so I was like, well, I also have oral hygiene regimen in my shower. So I added floss into like the little cup in my shower. And now I am a super flosser. So like, who's to say you have to floss at the sink? And then like, I have a little trash can that's right outside my shower and I just throw a little floss away. So it's like that small change of just bringing the floss into the shower.
Right.
Amazing. Life changing for me.
You know what my trick is?
Mm-hmm.
My trick is I put my shoes on when I need to get things done. And I do not take them off.
Oh, you're going places.
Yeah.
You're going places, shoes.
Yes. I put my shoes on. I typically don't wear, like if I work from home, I'm 100% remote. So I get up in the morning, I go to the gym, I come home, I take my shower, I get dressed, but then I'm staying home. I put my shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I put my shoes on during the day when I need to do stuff, I get stuff done. I have found that when I don't put my shoes on, I am more scatterbrained. I am, it's harder for me to concentrate at work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't have really any motivation to get things done. And I mean little things like take out the trash, do the dishes,
Mm-hmm.
like regular stuff. But for some reason, having my shoes on until I am done with everything tricks my brain into like thinking that I have to make sure that I'm finishing what I set out to do. So that's like that's my one ADHD trick is I put on shoes and I don't take them off until I'm done.
I'm going to refer to that as like your inside brain versus your outside brain. Like putting shoes on lets you put on your outside brain. Yes. If you're barefoot, then you're like, it's my inside brain. I want to sit here in my apartment and not do anything.
And not do shit. If I'm barefoot, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. So crazy.
So there are some other things that I notice manifesting in myself as far as habits and behaviors that I do.
Okay.
I refer it to it's a verb I've made as like, oh, you go down a rabbit hole. So I just call it rabbit holing. Like so for example, if I watch a movie recently, I just watched Sweeney Todd for the first time.
What?
Sweeney Todd.
Nope. No.
Demon Barber.
This is the ADHD right now. We're going to segue. What?
Yeah. So I just watched
it for the first time. Okay. What were your thoughts? Did you love it?
Yeah. I was prepared that it was dark, and I'm glad that, and I didn't know what my expectations were. I don't know if I thought it would be kind of funny or whatnot, but it's like, I didn't know my expectations, but whatever it was not that. However, I was like, it's a musical. I love it. Now, of course, it's going to be in the rotation. But again, I want to learn everything about this movie.
Oh, I did the same thing when I saw
everything
Sweeney
about
Todd.
it. But I can't just keep like watching the same movie again because I can get more information, but I'm not going to get any like more in-depth behind the scenes information. So now I have paid for YouTube Premium, but it's like, because I can't have commercials in my YouTube, because now I'm like, what are the music breakdowns? Why is the music great? How long is it? Oh, it's been on Broadway. How long has this been? Like Angela Lansbury.
You didn't know that it was on Broadway?
Yeah. And so it's just like
the song. Did you know that the song that she sings when they go to the beach?
Yeah.
When she's like imagining them going to the beach. Did you know that she does like, it's like basically like a 2-breath song.
Yeah.
Like she takes maybe 2 to 3 breaths during this entire song. That's crazy.
And so I'm like, ooh, what are the themes behind Sweeney Todd? And this is not like Sweeney Todd specific. This is just an example of everything I do always, all the time with everything. So it's just like, I want to know everything about everything. So maybe ADHD superpower for me is like, I learn so much because I tend to hyperfixate on a lot of things. And so it's like, I want to learn everything I can about Sweeney Todd. I want to learn everything about the freaking Terminator timeline. I want to know but also when it comes, oh my God, you guys, the Terminator. Okay.
That's my favorite series of movies. Don't get me started.
I'm like, zombie apocalypse couldn't happen, but fucking Terminator could happen. Skynet is self-aware. Anyway.
First of all, Skynet is real. It's happening already. And every elder millennial zennial is like, what are we doing? Can we stop that? Can we stop? Have you guys not seen the movies?
Yeah. We know.
No, I do the rabbit holing. I do the hyperfixation on a regular basis. My go-to is not YouTube. My go-to is Wikipedia. And then I read the whole Wikipedia, and then I go down to all of the sources, and then I go source by source and look up all the sources. But you know what? Like, I know that's a superpower because you're kind of like the way I am. When we read something, it sort of sticks in what I like to call our brain castle or mind castle.
Okay.
And it sort of sticks somewhere in our mind castle. And sometimes it makes me feel like a little bit like a know-it-all. A little bit.
Yeah.
But also I feel like it's a superpower because I do know a lot.
Yes. And for someone, me, I'll speak for Whitefield, I don't have a formal education. I have gone to like 6 trade schools. However, I haven't ever like gone to like formal college. The 6 trade school, that is not being hyperbolic. I have literally gone to a lot of trade schools.
She's not joking.
I'm not joking. I'll name them in the show notes.
we talked about it. She has ADHD, so she went to 6 trade schools.
Yeah. So that, because I was like, I want to learn a lot of stuff. And it's not to say that
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, I did nails for 10 years. It's not like, oh, I just want to learn nails and then I switch something else. Like I can stick to something again if you're very interested in learning about it. But it's like, I know a little about a lot and a lot about a little. And
well, I think that might be a superpower. Like some people might argue that your ability to go from one trade school, and these are very different types of trade schools, right? So one trade school to a different, you know what I'm saying? Like just, oh, you did massage.
I did.
Right?
I went, after high school, I went to massage therapy school. Then I went to bartending school. And then I went to real estate school. And then I went to maybe just 5. But then I went to nail school. And then after, when I changed careers, I went to coding school. So I went to 5 trade schools that I can remember right off the top of my head. So like I know a lot. Oh, and then I just became a certified life coach.
And now you're a life coach. That's another school.
Yeah, 6. I made it. Nailed it.
Dune.
So I'm
making words up now. It's fine.
I have
also an ADHD superpower.
Yeah. But for my rabbit holing, when it comes to doing businesses or stuff, but I'm also like, when it comes to hyperfixation, like I am like a dog on a bone. And one of the best compliments I've ever gotten in my life was just like, if we have an idea or a dream, Rachel, we're going to take it to you because we know you can get it done. And that's not to say I'm going to do it on behalf of these people, but I'm never going to laugh at their dream. And I'm going to be like, all right, let's make a plan to like make it work. And so then where my mind goes is like, for example, when we had our FaceTime and we just loved talking to each other and we were saying, and I said just off the cuff, oh my God, Jackie, we should have a podcast. And you were like, we should.
We should.
And
let's do it.
The hamster in the wheel was awake. It was sprinting on the wheel.
You immediately went 100 miles per hour. And I was like, yes, I was so excited.
I was like, we should like chat again next week. And I had come back with no joke. I think I'd come back with 30 podcast ideas and 10 names.
You did.
And I was very timid. And I said, I don't know if you really thought this would be funny or like, I'm just saying, if you were serious about it, I was, I'm not serious about it, because we were still filling each other out with like,
I know.
So you were like, oh, this is great. But it was just like, I could not put it to bed. I could not put it to bed until I had taken it to me, the nth degree, to be like, I think we added a couple more of yours. And by the first or second week, we had a year's worth of weekly podcast topics out. And they're good topics when I would talk about them to people. But it was just like, and even people who do bring me other business ideas, I'm helping someone build a YouTube channel and helping them with like their own business ideas. And I was like, listen, I don't want to take this over for you. And if this no longer interests you, I want to be respectful of that. And I will put it down mentally. I'm not doing a heavy lift by thinking about it mentally. My mind always goes there. However, you need to know and understand, if we're going to work together, I won't stop until you tell me to stop.
Right.
And I just know. So it's like, if you are still very excited about this idea, like for us, Jackie, it was like, I can stop this, Jackie. But you're like, no, keep the train on the tracks. So it was just more of like, I'm going to be thinking about this anyways. So do we want to do anything with it? But it's also like, I'm going to go there, but if you don't want to go there, you're going to have to tell me to stop.
Stop. Yeah. No, I'm never telling you that. Girl, why would I? You said, let's do a podcast. You had already done successful businesses. I was like, this is the person. Like,
the person. Yeah.
this is the person. I would be like, absolutely. I'm so excited you asked. Never stop. Never stop. I'm kind of the same way when it comes to like dog on a bone. But my thing is like, I like when people tell me I can't do something. You know, like you're very much like, go ahead. You can just tell me to stop when you want me to stop. But I'm like, tell me I can't fucking do it. I dare you.
Yeah. Cause me, it's more of like people are saying, oh, I have an idea. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I let's go into that idea.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah.
I mean, you are in school to get your MBA. Like,
yeah. Because somebody told me like, what did they say? They were like, you already have 2 degrees. 1, you don't need it. And 2, like, do you think you could really get through business school, like grad school? And like the way they said it to me was really doubting. And I was like, you don't know that I spent 4 days reading about bees and can tell you all about them. So business school,
you want to know
MBA,
about colony death. Let me tell
literally, you want to know how they choose a new hive?
You want to know about pollinators
versus worker bees versus the queen versus what happens when there's like literally I can talk about for no reason. Am I a beekeeper? Nope. Have I ever kept bees? No. Nope. Not been around them ever, but I went down a rabbit hole when I found out they were dying, you know. You
know what I love? Honey never expires.
Oh, that's my favorite thing. And people be throwing it away with the crystals on top. Do you guys not know that is literally its own, like that's how it keeps fresh? Heat that shit up. Scrape it off. Dude, yeah. Anyways. I love honey. It's literally bee spit. That's what gets me every time is that it's bees vomit. It's bee vomit. It's so good for not only your body, but your skin. It is so good for your skin. Anyways, I was talking.
We got to keep on track. Listen, unmedicated. We can't.
Listen, you didn't take your medication and mine's worn off. So this is the show. And we procrastinated in prepping for this show.
I will say what we know for ourselves. We know ourselves. And we do. On the screen right next to us, we have our show notes. And it's a loose interpretation on the shows sometimes. However, to kind of keep us on track, like we have to have this, you know.
Oh, we do. We follow it for like the most part, but this week's show notes are sparse.
Oh my God. If we could have recorded
comparatively,
if we could have recorded those first 2 phone calls. Because I think it was more of like, oh my God, I have a story to tell you. Oh my God, I have a story. And I don't think we ever got to the stories, but we definitely never ran out of things to talk about.
No, we were on the phone for literally 3 hours each time.
Yeah. And I was
sometimes for our like pre-show meetings, we're talking about the show for like 40 of those minutes, but we're talking for 2 hours. And on top of that, we're talking every single day via the Marco Polo app. And y'all, shout out to Marco Polo. They're going to sponsor us one day. I just believe it. Your phones are going to download all of your photos and pictures from your app, from your message app, but Marco Polo will save your memory if you guys want to start sending videos.
Real quick, listeners. Jackie didn't know about Marco Polo. So
had no idea.
Just sending me video text messages.
Ridiculous.
And then I was like, hey, have you heard about this app? And it's really hard for me to explain the benefits of like why it'd be different than you just sending me a text video. But isn't it so much better?
It's so much better, and B, it's actually saving my memory like in my phone, because I'm telling you, all of your messages save into your phone's memory. And if you send pictures or videos,
through those messages, it doubles like what you already have in your phone. So you're going to end up paying for memory if you don't use Marco Polo. Sponsor us.
I just paid for Marco Polo Premium, and and then I got to give like my little 5 free passes. Well, I gave you a free pass. So you can fast forward.
You did not tell me.
I think I may have.
Did they go like via
and then you have so many more emojis to like go. Yeah. So you can
many more emojis.
You can close out of the app and then it'll still play in the background. And then you can pause and then you can rewind, listen at twice speed.
Oh my God. I'm so excited about this. Okay. It's still Marco Polo. Sponsor us. Look back on the show notes and tell me where we were. I think we were talking about how I'm getting my MBA.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Back focus. MBA.
I really like, for some reason, for some reason, when people challenge me, that activates my ADHD. That puts me on it as like a dog on a bone. That activates my like hyper fixation on something. And I think honestly that like, I don't think a lot of people have that.
Because if I want to know anything about Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, it's me.
I'm going to go straight to you. And I've known it.
The Civil War.
For years.
Yeah. Anything about the Civil War, anything about Abraham Lincoln. I know a lot about American history, but I got one of my college. So listeners, I am ADHD overachiever. Like she went to 6 schools. I went to 2, but I got 3 degrees. I'm an adjuster, like as in my professional life, but I have a United States history degree, a business degree, and a paralegal degree. So I can do all 3 of those things. And now I'm getting my master's in business. I love that I'm getting my master's in business now, like in hindsight.
Look at us.
Because look at us. Now we're starting
I had the experience and you have the education to back it up.
And now I'm going to have the education to back it up. We had this podcast and you were like, I'm going to finally do it. I'm going to do my life coaching. And now you're a life coach.
Yep.
So our ADHD in effect has become our superpower. Period.
Yeah.
Because now I'm an educated professional. You're a life coach, which you're amazing at. Like I get her services for free, but everybody should pay her fee because holy crap.
I will say the facilitator, when I was a coach and I was coaching someone in a session, the facilitator came in and listened. And then he actually came on camera, like came off mute. And he says, Rachel, how long have you been coaching? And I said, like, I'm here today to be a life coach. But I said, I did nails for 10 years. And he says, oh, okay. So you've been talking and coaching people for 10 years.
Literally.
And
like they got their nails done for free and they were actually paying for life coaching.
Yeah.
I
finally got officially certified.
Yes. Which did you need it? I don't know. I really feel like maybe the letters after your name gives you like the levity, the authority, but quite frankly, anybody who gets to know you is going to be like, no, I'm going to talk to Rachel about this.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I don't want women to to feel bad about themselves. I want you to get your diagnosis if you feel this difference between people, between you and other people, because it's not a detriment to who you are. It really is. It makes you so different. It makes you stand out. It gives you you're talented in so many different avenues. That's the best part because of your ADHD.
And I will say, because I know myself better now because of it, because I kind of know the way my brain works, the way my mind works. You know, when I talk to people, you know, I'm talking to a certain gentleman now, and when I just said, I have ADHD, or it's like, it's like he understands how to listen to me now. Like, or like, oh, I understand the lens in which you are speaking. I understand now. You've like, I don't know. It's just more of
Yeah.
like, oh, I understand me. So he's just like, okay, she's not just like talking weirdly. That's just a bad, terrible way to say it,
She's
or
not
whatever.
just not listening to me. She's not
True.
interrupting on purpose.
Yes.
Like
And
they have that understanding now. Like I'm not doing it on purpose. Like I'm still part of the conversation. I'm still listening to you.
and
But
I
we have to get
have
that idea out.
and I've dated a gentleman with ADHD.
Mhm.
And once
I am now.
he told me about it, I was like, oh, okay, got it. And then it like the things that were starting to annoy me, it's not that he got a pass, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense now. Like that makes
Yeah.
sense, and he
Yeah.
chose not to be on medication or anything that worked
Yeah.
for him the way he like worked at work, whatever. But it was just like, okay, I know you have it. I know you choose not to take meds for it. Like that is your choice. But I was like, I get it now. I get the way you live now. And shame on me to be like, well, he's messy, or like he leaves cabinet doors open, or whatever it is, these small things that like manifest into like a bigger picture.
Right.
And once I knew, I was like, got it. All good. All good, kid. All good.
Because there's things you can do now
Mhm.
to help them. And
Mhm.
like you need that for yourself too. Like
Yeah.
we need a little bit of grace with people's diagnoses.
Yes. And I know how to, I like give what's best to myself. I know how to tell people what's best for me in a way that to like communicate with them. And then it's like, it does make my relationships better. But also because in my marriage, when someone has like out of control OCD, I'm married to someone who has like out of control undiagnosed ADHD, it's like we didn't know how to have those conversations.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a conversation to have. I just thought I was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
You thought
Like
you
I
were
didn't
like an awful person.
And now I can have that conversation and those issues are not going to come up, or they haven't yet. Let's put it that way.
I think there'll be more forgiveness behind those issues as well.
And
like
forgiving
it makes more sense. It's not an excuse.
Yeah.
And yes, and you like being able to forgive your own self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For your
and to know
differences.
that you're not wrong. It's just different.
Mhm.
It's just different. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just a little bit different. That's it.
I don't want anybody to think there's anything wrong with them if they think they have ADHD. I think everybody,
I can only
especially women
speak
that
for
are being
myself.
diagnosed. Oh yeah, for sure.
However.
But like I don't want anybody out there to there's this thing about ADHD, like we're able to do so, and you're a prime example. I am a prime example. I have done a million different jobs in my life and I have been amazing at every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So have you. And I think our ADHD allows us to not only learn new things, learn them quickly, and become really good at them.
And if I may piggyback on a previous episode, and now we're 40 and I have enough experience behind me and life behind me to say, one, I can now identify patterns that I didn't realize was a pattern before. And then two, with all of that rabbit holing information that we have absorbed, it's like we have gained some skills inadvertently.
We've become experts
Accidentally.
Inexperienced experts accidentally. For sure. Like why? First of all, I went to school for US history, which makes sense about why I know so much about the Civil War, but I know a lot about the Civil War. And then I went to school for it so that I could have the certificate that says I know a lot about it, which is that overachieving aspect of having adult ADHD as a woman. Yes.
And it's so crazy because it's like I don't have any problems concentrating on things that really do excite me, because if someone says go down a YouTube rabbit hole, go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole, and all adjoining related links, you're like, oh my God, what a chore. But if I want to learn about, the Shackleton expedition to Antarctica.
I don't want to
Yeah.
learn about that.
Oh, it
sounds
was so
boring as
good.
shit.
And then I was on a date and he had gone.
You said it was so good.
was
Was
so
it
good.
so good?
It was very
Is there a lot
interesting.
of
Let's put it that way.
drums?
And
I went down, pause. I went down the Donner Party expedition
on
rabbit hole.
YouTube, me too.
No, I did the Wikipedia version and read
Mm.
all of the sources. I don't know why I can't do the videos. I get bored very quickly.
Oh,
But reading about it, I'm into it. Anyways,
'Cause I
continue
can-
about the date, the
because
Shackleton
I can
expedition.
listen and then I can also do something at the same time, like clean or whatever.
Got it.
Yeah. So that, yeah, on the date. And then I was like, well, he was like this outdoor expeditionist and he'd been to Antarctica. And I was like, well, where's Elephant Island where they were like stranded, or how they
I
got
love this.
rescued? And
Was he
like,
so impressed?
yes. He was like,
Yes.
what? And then he like starts talking about Antarctica. And I was like holding my own in this conversation.
That is literally my favorite thing, because like we rabbit hole and we hold. Okay, so this is what I mean by brain castle.
Okay.
If you have ADHD, you 100% have a brain castle, especially if you rabbit hole. And let me describe the brain castle for you. There are halls upon halls with doors upon doors, and each door holds facts, holds words that you've read, holds books that you've read, everything that you've learned, it's in there. It's in your brain castle. Now, sometimes you might be talking and you're like, oh, I forgot that word, or something triggers a memory and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I know. Give your brain a minute, because it's just wandering the hallways looking for the door.
And it's trying to catch up to where you already are.
Right. Your brain can only go so fast, like through your mind castle, to figure out where that door is that leads to that memory. But does that not make sense, Rachel? Because really... we'll be talking and I'll be like, 30 minutes later, I'd be like, this is the word.
Yeah.
After it took me a while to get through my brain castle.
You will notice, like, I'll say, oh, I just remembered this, or I'll remember it later. And then you'll get a completely unrelated YouTube video from me. This is what we were talking about last week.
Yes.
Got it. I finally remember.
Your brain castle just got there. You just got to that door.
I didn't have
don't worry about it. You'll get to the door.
I didn't have a way to articulate that. Like, I didn't know, like, oh yeah, brain castle. Like, now that makes sense. Like, now there are corridors and doors and hall, yeah. Excellent.
Where you have stored things, everybody is welcome. Use it, love it, thank me later.
So, Jaki, like, what are your main takeaways from this like ADHD darling episode today?
Here's my primary takeaway. Mine is ADHD is actually a superpower. It makes you good at multiple things. It makes you extremely able to learn and hold a weird amalgamation of knowledge. So there is no reason to be ashamed of ADHD. There is no reason not to share your diagnosis with people that you care about. And there's no reason to like not honestly learn more about yourself so that you can figure out how to communicate your own diagnosis and make your life a little bit easier now that you know about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you?
Yeah, I would say, my takeaways is just like, if you do have it or you've been undiagnosed for a long time, just self-forgiveness. I really needed to give myself that space. But also, being unknown that you were living with it. Like, I think I read somewhere that it takes people 5 years to finally decide to go to therapy. So it's like, maybe I didn't want to know if I had ADHD, something was wrong with me, so it's like, again, I'll just keep repeating, like, it's just not wrong, just different. And so it's like, but that's something that I have to keep reminding myself. And also, I know that kind of the people in my life, my family, like they aren't necessarily keen on medication for things for depression or ADHD. And they have made that known to me. However, for me, like it helps me. I know what I need. And I had to say, fuck off to everyone else's opinions that even if they had my best interest at heart, because they are not a medical professional. And if they were, they're not my doctor. So their opinion about it, I had to push it to the side and say, I do know what's best for me. And taking a medication, there's nothing wrong with it. That's why they have it. And I am here. I always say, I am not made to suffer. So it's more of like, this is very helpful. And I can see how it does help me and isn't living the best life you can instead of struggling with it. Like, so to me, I'm like, if anyone take meds, if you want to don't take meds. If you don't, that's absolutely your choice. However, it's like anyone's opinion who isn't my doctor's holds no weight, and I do not care, and they can take it elsewhere. That's just me. I'm just me. That's my takeaways. So Jaki, we have had the whiskey bent portion of our show.
We have
to transition into the spellbound portion of Whiskey Bent and Spellbound.
Let's get it. I'm really excited
for a 3-card poll.
Yeah, we're gonna do a 3-card poll, but while you were talking, sometimes here's my favorite part about the cards, right? Sometimes they jump out all by themselves. They flip out all by themselves. They are like, this is actually a little message that you need.
And they've been doing that on our show.
Oh, they have. So while I was shuffling, World pulled out. World is really about achieving your goals and celebrating and like your evolution and transformation, and just like I love that, since we're talking about it. Hold on, let me get this, see what happens. Let me get them pulled.
I just saw something else pop out.
Yeah, that's what they do.
I know.
So the longer I've been reading cards, the more they pop out rather than me pulling them out. I don't know what that's about.
They say Black and Whitefield, you have to have this message. Yes.
Let me pull the last two because I'm obsessed.
Yes.
I feel like this one was just like,
so it's the world.
Like literally celebrate yourself is kind of what I want to say. It's just about the world.
As we do in the Black and Whitefield community. We have our little Discord channel that like we have our brag about yourself channel. That's what I mean. Yep.
That's what I mean. That's like, it's just like the epitome of what we've been talking about. Just celebrate yourself. Don't feel bad. Don't make it like it's not a disability. It literally is a superpower. So the very first one we pulled this last week. I don't know if you remember, but we have pulled strength before. However, we're talking about ADHD, and this thing came out upside down.
Oh, okay. I just thought you were holding it up wrong. I didn't realize okay.
It means something different, right? So this way it's like strength, but if we're holding things upside down, know that we're talking about opposites. So this is about self-doubt. This is about weakness. And what are we fucking talking about?
Girl.
Every week I'm saying, okay. So the strength card reversed is just about like weaknesses. We're talking about ADHD, and some of us really feel like that, like before we're even diagnosed, we're like, this is a weakness. And then sometimes when we do get diagnosed, we feel even worse about it, but you can't feel that way. The second card coming out is upside down as well. Okay. This is the Five of Swords reverse. This is like the lingering. I don't want to say resentment, but it feels like you've been burdened, or we've been burdened, or whoever I'm reading for, who's ever listening, has been burdened by this feeling of weakness. And if we're talking about ADHD, then this second card tells us that it feels like a burden, and it's kind of exhausting. And
well,
especially,
you also said that earlier, where like you felt like a burden on people that you couldn't ask for help.
I did, girl. I did say that.
What a callback. Yes, but that's exactly
Ooh.
what you said. So it's like, I feel that card is even more poignant and important that it jumped out at us today to be pulled, because it's like, we did talk about being burdensome on other people.
Yeah, exactly. It just feels exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, it also has like a resentful vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
So like being somebody who's older and getting diagnosed with ADHD in our adulthood,
Mm-hmm.
probably is like you're feeling a little bit of resentment towards society, towards your family, for
That they
not
don't listen
understanding.
to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
But the
we're
final
just shitty
card,
at math.
yeah, I'm just shitty at math. I'm so mad about that. Did you hear how I react?
And I'm so fucking smart.
I'm so smart, but my brain does not math. It just doesn't. So this one is so great because this is the Four of Wands, and this has everything to do with celebration and finding community. You see all those people?
What? Jake, I have chills. God damn.
I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then this world card,
Mm-hmm.
celebration, coming together, success. I'm saying. So
Woo!
again, I know, feeling a little bit weak because you feel different. You feel doubtful in yourself. You feel insecure, but you gotta like, okay, this isn't a but. You feel insecure, and there might be a little bit of resentment. There might be a little bit of like burdensomeness there. However, you shouldn't feel that way because there is an entire community of other people who are waiting to celebrate not only you, but all that you have to offer and all of the different knowledge that you have gained, rabbit holed the hell out of. And let me tell you, there's going to be a big ass celebration at the end of it. So keep fucking going, sister. That's the reading.
That's the reading. And you got, take it from us, Black and Whitefield. We reconnected. We came together, both ADHD. Look at us now.
Both 40
and fabulous.
Fabulous. I love this. This was such a good show. That was such a great reading. I'm so excited for our listeners. I really hope everybody takes something away from that and feels a little bit connected and not so alone in their ADHD diagnosis, you know?
And also join our Discord channel.
Yes.
Like the Black
Discord channel. And don't forget to join our Patreon because our sizzle reel
after show.
The cheese may is had and the chonkless come off, ladies.
Cheese maze and chonklas. That's what it's going to be called.
I love that. That.
Got it. Yes. Join us for the after show. That is when we actually it gets so spicy with the day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's where honestly the cheese may occurs. And again, for our listeners who know Sabo, chisme in Espanol means gossip.
Glitter and gossip with the whiskey. I can't find a better way to take us out. Jacqueline, thank you for another great episode of Whiskey Bent and
Spellbound with Black
and Whitefield.
Yes, we got it. Love you.
Love
bye.
You, bye.